We talked a little bit about ring seal, how much oil is the right amount. Again, everybody has a different opinion. Some people will tell you break it in with the 30 weight oil, non-detergent, and then you can transition it over. A lot of racers that I hear around the world, including myself, I'll put my synthetic oil in it and I'll just go out there and run it hard. I'll run it hard. Do I need a break in? Not really. I'm going to go run it hard immediately, and it's only going to seal better with time. So you will, here's the biggest mistake you can make with oil. Never combine two different kinds of oils, and if you're transitioning from what they would call a PAG oil, which is used sometimes in an air compressor, it's a different kind of oil versus an ester-based oil. Those two hate each other. If you have any concerns, drop 2 droplets of oil, one on top of the other, that maybe you're thinking about switching from one oil to another. Drop one on it and see if they separate, or see if they like each other, for lack of a better phrase. If I'm going to go from one oil, maybe I'm running a red light oil and I've decided I want to go to AMSOIL. What I'll do is I'll run that thing on the stand for 20 or 25 minutes so it can pump. Because of the fact that it's got clearance between the rod and the crankshaft in the journal, I'm going to let it run and get good and hot for about 20 to 25 minutes. Can we get you a chair over there? You good? Okay. 20, 25 minutes on the stand, and then I'm going to drain it, and then I'm going to put it back in, and I'm going to go run. But I don't want to go from one to the other, because I cringe when you start combining oils, because again, they just don't, some of them don't like each other. All right, meat and potatoes of why you guys are here. Torque curves and peak horsepower. By a show of hands, do we have our box stock racer dads, or green slide racers? Okay, so we got some green slide racers. Green slide racer, that our torque curve is going to be, and I'll show you guys after after we're done with the seminar. I've got documents that will back it up. Dyno sheet. Briggs has got 20 or 30 dynos that they work with constantly, and I've got one at the house that I do a bunch of testing. I can tell you the green slide peak torque for you is going to be about 3,000 RPM. So if you want to come off the corner at 4,000 with your clutch engagement, you might want to think differently about it. I'm dropping teeth. And so green slide 3,000 and peak 5,100. If I am a junior racer with a green slide and I look at my data acquisition and I see that I'm up to maybe hitting the rev limiter of 57, 58, I'm dropping teeth. I'm dropping teeth because I'm going to go faster. At the Kyle Larson Classic, I don't know if that person is here today, but he told me, I said, you might try dropping teeth. And he said, no, we're right where we need to be. I said, you might try dropping, do me a favor, drop 2 teeth, tell me what happens. He comes back and said, you went 3 toes faster. I said, do me a favor, drop 2 more. Because he was giddy. He said, we went 3 tenths faster. Just when you think you're there, guys, in the peak, if I could design the perfect clutch for this application, it would be like a snowmobile clutch. It would be a very dry clutch. It would keep me in the meat of the torque curve all the time. We can't do that. It can't be a very varying clutch, but what you want to do is stay off the rev limiter for a green slide, and maybe for a black slide cart that's out there, right up against that. You're gonna, if you come off the corner just at the end of the straight before your racer lifts, and it just starts to get on that limiter, that's just about where you want to be, because we're 56, 57. It's going to pull, but not as hard. But so whenever somebody asks me the question, my first thought is a guy was running, and him and another guy were going. They were going into the turn at the same time, and I said, "Do me a favor, drop 2 teeth on this." And he was nervous. He said, "I don't know if that'll work for me." I said, "Trust me on this one." He ended up winning the race and walking away because he brought it down. We adjusted his clutch engagement. Instead of 4,000, he was now at 3,300. We adjusted his RPM because he was 6,100 limiter, and so we brought him back down. And he said, "I never would have believed it." But little things that you can do. That's gold right there. If you can stay off the limiter and stay in the peak of the torque, you're going to see a performance gain. Optimum clutch engagement RPMs, we talked a little bit about that, but pulling off the corner, I hear from dads all the time. You gotta go look at this guy over there. That guy's pulling off the corner, he's like a train, and he says, we're way off. And normally it comes back to, where are you setting that clutch? He said, well, we're at 4,200. I said, well, if you got peak torque here, and you're past the peak torque, dial it back. Well, he says, I can't. He says, even if I dial the clutch back, I'm still here. Drop teeth to get back to that RPM curve that you want to be. It makes a huge difference. We're going to tie three things together. You know, get ahead of myself only to come back so you're thinking about it. But when we stay in the meat of the torque curve, and then we make adjustments to valve lash, maybe slight ignition timing, and maybe our carburation, when you work those three things together, it becomes a thing of beauty because, you know, I'll say it this way, everybody has probably heard an outboard motor when you disconnect the fuel line, it blubbers for a little while, and then right before it runs out of gas, it runs the best. And the reason is because the AF, the air-fuel mixture, is perfect right before it dies. And let's think of it this way, the same thing with these engines. It's optimum setting. So I want to get ahead of myself, but clutch is where we are. Pulling off the corner, dial it back. Dial it back a whole bunch. And if you never hit the rev limiter, I would bet you will go faster than you will if you go up into the rev limiter. And data acquisition, we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. If you don't have it on your cart, don't feel bad. I'm sure there's somebody at the racetrack that can tell you, yeah, you know what, we're running a 1566 gear or whatever if you're running 35 chain, they will help you. And they can help you get closer to that. And you'll get an idea. People love to share as long as you don't beat them, but if you start beating them, I'm guessing they're not that interested. So one of those kind of deals. Choose the right racing rear sprocket right here. Again, we're a little bit going ahead of that, dropping that rear sprocket teeth until you slow down. I will tell people, keep dialing it back until you get to the point where I've slowed down, because most of you guys are going to speed up. So that's a huge component to it. And we did talk about data acquisition.